Hey, what's happening everyone? Justin here at Trumful Reads, and in this video we're going to be doing the second half of my library book unhaul. And I think there was 56 or 57 books or so I decided to split it into two different parts. In the other video, which I'll link down below, I got rid of, or I showed you the history books, and some of the literature books, and the collections of like primary source material or something like that. And I did all those in that video. So in this one, we've got some miscellaneous books I don't really know how to categorize, some reference books, some philosophy books, and then some language and art books, stuff like that. So yeah, let's just get right into it. After I do, like I said, one more little plug for my Etsy shop. Follow me on Twitter. You can win free, really cool bookmarks. They're not all just Zodiac stuff. I got Norse stuff. I'm making some Latin and Greek ones right now. There'll be some literature ones up soon, stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. Make sure you can enter into the next giveaway when it comes out in a few days. So that'd be pretty cool stuff. And let's just get started. So let's start with some of the random stuff. A Teacher's Guide to Basic History of the United States by Clarence B. Carson. I have no idea why I have that. I took my practices and stuff, but I really don't have a plan on being a teacher or anything. I'm not even sure how I acquired that one. Mental Philosophy presents Condensed Knowledge, a deliciously irreverent guide to feeling smart again. I'm just not a big fan of how Mental Philosophy presents that information and stuff. I actually didn't mind their magazine, like I had it like at one time, but I know their books just really aren't for me. So, and this covers literally just like pretty much anything, basically like liberal arts, basically just everything. And then there's Flying Aces of World War One by Jean Gurney. Basically, it's just like a middle school age scholastic book over, the fighter aces of World War One. Basically, it just doesn't fit because it's middle school, so I just need to get a more just a regular book on this topic as well. And then another one is the Intellectual Devotional on American History. Revive your mind, complete your education, and converse comfortably about our nation's past. It's literally like one of those daily devotional thingies, I guess, where you just read like this little blurb about something in American history for each day as you get up or something. I don't do devotional, so it's just weird and not for me. Alright, so now let's go on to the reference books. Got the Oxford Companion to Classical Literature, and these Oxford Companion books, I used to like them, but this one's like one I've never really used. Basically, it's if you come up with like a term that's anything remotely related to classical literature, say like maybe a figure in like one of the plays of Aeschylus or something, you could probably like look it up and see what it's like referring to and stuff. I just don't use this one like ever. Like I can't even think of one time I've actually used it. And largely it's because I have the Oxford Classical Dictionary, which is like probably one of my most prized books on my shelf. Basically this has every single thing like ever that's like basically Greek or Roman, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I just didn't need that one. See, I got the Encyclopedia of the Ancient Greek World, and it's an odd shape. It's almost like a coffee table encyclopedia, but it looks really big, but the font is actually pretty big for what it is. So there's really actually not that many entries in here. It's only, I think, 300 pages, not even. So basically the same thing goes with that one for the Oxford Classical Dictionary. Plus, like I said, I'm not really sure like what that book is even like geared for, because like I said, it's almost not complete enough for compared to other books, but it's still like an encyclopedia, so it's just kind of in like a weird middle spot. An Outline of World, or a History of the World by Davies is the last name. I don't know the first name, but basically it's H.A. Davies. But basically it's just like basically a history textbook from literally like from basically ancient times to modern times. Well, whenever modern times were for when this one was printed, but basically you go from like the foundation of civilization and like Sumer and stuff all the way to the 20th century, but you're only taking 500 pages, so it's a very brief outline of basically everything, and just not for me. Then I have this set of these. I'm not even sure where I got these. I don't know if I got these at a garage sale or something, but great events from world history, and it goes for ancient and medieval. I guess all three of them are ancient medieval, but I started reading the first one, but basically what it is, it's like there's just like not random, but entries kind of in chronological order of like big famous happenings, like, let's see, so this is like in the Middle Ages. So Anselm writes, the Cur Deus Homo, culmination of the synthesis of Islamic and Greek thought. You know, it's just like kind of random. I keep saying random, but it's just like major, events, which most of them aren't really events per se. It's more just like something you're supposed to like learn about. But I don't know, I just felt really weird like reading it. Every section has basically some extra literature that you're supposed to read. Or if you want to read more about it, except that's all really dated because I think these are from like the 50s or 60s. And a lot of the literature they reference are from like the turn of like the 20th century, so they're like 100 years old now. So just isn't for me. Let's see, Brian Parrott's The Battle Book, and basically it's crucial conflicts in history from 1469, which would be the Battle of Kadesh, to the present. But it's very just, there's tons of battles in here, we got like Mulhouse, Bunda, Nanshan, Nasby, Narva, but the thing is, they're all just really, really brief blurbs, we got the date, location, the campaign or the war, opposing sides, forces engaged, casualties result, and then like, sometimes like a paragraph explaining like what happened, but it's, like I said, it's just a weird reference book that I don't ever actually use, so no point in keeping it. Okay, let's go to some of the philosophy books. I got The Structure of Metaphysics by Lazarowitz. Oh man, that'd be a funny last name. But basically I got 2 other books I'm keeping on metaphysics if I ever go around to reading it, so I figure I might as well keep those 2 and get rid of at least one. This one is Reading Some Philosophy, and the topic is God, but it's basically like I said in the other video, it's a kind of a compilation of excerpts from other philosophers. As you can see, like all these philosophers like Anselm, Galileo, Aquinas, Lewis, Russell, Hume, Smart. So it's not really their whole work. It's just like you go a couple pages or a couple paragraphs of their primary sources. In that's just not what I like doing. So no point in keeping that one. This one is Introduction to the History of Philosophy by Joseph Bryce. But the problem is I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 other introductions or history of philosophy type books that I'm keeping. I like 2 of them pretty well. I still gotta read the other 2, which are a lot shorter than that one I just got rid of, but there's no point in keeping 5 or 6 of them, so that's where that one's going. And lastly, I like the cover of this one, Stoic Logic by Vincent Mates, but I thought it was gonna be more about like stoicism and stuff, but it's more about like formal logic, which I took in college, but it's more like the math type formal logic, like if P and not P and blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff. Let's see if I can find some math in here. Let's see. Of course, now I say that like that kind of stuff. It's not what I want to read for fun, so there's no point in keeping that. Alright, so now we have, I think, just some old English grammar books. Don't ask me why I had 7 or 8 or 9 of these books. I thought at one time I had the chance to like take them basically, and I thought, maybe I'll just do it in my spare time, but I had like no interest in actually doing it. So I kept, I think, 1 or 2 just, in case, but I'm getting rid of like the other handful. So we got the Old English Handbook by Anderson and Williams. We got an Old English Grammar by Sievers. An Old English Grammar by, I can't even read the name on that one, it's so old, Randolph Quirk. We got an Introduction to Old English by G.L. Brooke, which is, I think, more of a, just like a history of Old English. Oh, that's an art book. Then we got Old English Grammar by Wright, Word Hoard, an Introduction to Old English Vocabulary by Barney. So it's literally, and that's it. I think that's it for the Old English ones. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm getting rid of 6. I think I'm keeping 1. So I had 7 books directly on Old English. That's not even Middle English. That's just all Old English. So I know. Don't ask me. Don't. All right. So now, and then the last category of books is art, like throughout history. And these are all like kind of on eras I really like Rome, Greece and Rome and Byzantium and stuff. The problem is, deep down I know I'm never going to read them, ever. Like, as much as I like to, I just know I'm not going to, so there's just no point in keeping them. So I've got Art of the Byzantine Era by David Talbot Rice. And as you can see, it's full artwork of Byzantium and Constantinople, stuff like that. We got Roman art and architecture, which, like I said, I'm not going to read it as much as I want to. We got, these ones are really, like, I got these matching ones. They must have been part of a series. The Pelican History of Art. We got Roman art and early Christian and Byzantine art. And they do look really cool. Even the cover's pretty cool. And as we can see, there's, oh, actually, this one's actually more or less just like the plates are in the back. So we got all the plates and stuff, but I just know I'm never really going to read it. I've never actually been in the history of art, so that's that. And then this one, I think, is just a textbook. I think it's missing, I think it has like a companion book with the plates with pictures and stuff, but The Art of Greece, 1431. That probably would have been like the only one I would think about keeping, but this one's the one without pictures, so definitely not going to read that one. And then we have The Art of Archaic Greece. And likewise, this one has a few pictures. This one's interesting because like the pictures are like glued or taped into the book rather than like being part of the pages themselves. I don't know if that's like common in art books or not, but I thought that was kind of weird. But this one's like on the art and architecture of Greece, so, or ancient Greece, I should say. They're Dark Age Greece. But there you guys have it. Those are the other half of the books I'm getting rid of. So tell me what you guys think, if I should have kept any of them, or try to convince me otherwise. Like I said in the last video, tell me some of the last books you guys are getting rid of. That'd be kind of cool to know too. So whatever you guys decide to keep, and keep on reading, always remember, read victoriously.